The skiff float once you get in. Have you made all... Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
What? Fine, why not?
Very cool. Now tune it to SAD. SAD FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know its frequency by heart.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last and the trees are green and overhanging, feather light, free and everlasting. And the trees are green and overhanging, feather light, free and everlasting. Want to be free.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, locking off that side of the bay.
From enemies. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
The skiff is swaying. The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105. On the islet, there is almost no wind, just snow quietly falling on the reeds. Bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long a silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand. The low tide filtered through its grain. Snow falls on the water, melting away without a low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow. A big building. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. A flake of snow falls on an extinguished campfire. It's a jitter, a sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world. You hear some kind of limb fidget, producing an imperceptible tick. No, it's just your imagination. You can't hear such things.
Yes? It is. Is that why we are stopping?
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator.
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher. Someone who has basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique, for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories, animal adventures, a magazine for electrical engine. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Uzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Yeah. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist students' room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. Date of birth generator. You were born in the year 07, in the last year of the commune of Ravachol, right before it fell, in the old military hospital on the ground floor, where people usually came to die during a snowstorm. The revolution had about 1 year left to go, and the fires were still burning bright. There were explosions in the blizzard. This was 44 years ago. You are 44 years old. The bloating might never leave your face, but beneath it, you still have some years. You still have some hope. Soft covers. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a wall.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She's okay. Don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking, but you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go. Let her go. This is the holy queen of the territories of Muindi and Insulinda. Think of the historic knowledge we could glean. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win her back. How does that fit in here? And what is the holy suzerain doing here anyway?
Hey. I mean, hey to you too. I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry? God, Harry. You have to take care of yourself. You're not a young man anymore. If you keep going like this, you'll...
Desperation is gearing up. This is everything I always warned you about.
I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to...
She means she doesn't have time to tend to your emotions. She sighs and looks over her. What are you doing? Stop saying things like that.
I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over silence, her nuptial gown flows in the wind.
Anyway. No, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into. It's okay. No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us. Our love. Our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Revachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell. Forever.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it. That's not what figurines do, Harry.
She looks at the headless Faun rider between your fingers and doesn't know what to say.
Harry, I didn't ask for things. It's too late to give me anything. I would have liked the headless Faun rider. Back then. I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day. Oh, Harry, you shouldn't have done that. Call me like that.
You ruined it. There was still a chance. You should have waited longer. She would have called you instead.
Oh, Harry, do you really think so? We haven't talked in years. I don't want to call you. I don't want to hear from you. I think months already. Soon it will be years. Every season that passes, the light gets less clear. I sit there in Morova, in the holy gratitude of my bliss. I put my hand on my belly and smile.
The air gets cold around you. She looks down on her stomach, then up at you. Her eyes are full of tremendous distance and mystery. The death blow is coming. It's Dora. That's what the voice said on the phone. Dubois, yes, Dora Dubois.
Why, what? Oh, no. No. We're not doing that again.
That was not the death blow yet. You saved yourself. For now. Keep stumbling around and it will happen.
Wasn't I Dolores Day just a second ago? Now I'm the X thing? You're confusing me. Look, I have to be at the Lausanne Aerodrome at 10:20 p.m. I still have a light rail to catch. I haven't even bought the tickets yet.
We all told you. Everyone warned you.
Everyone. Literally all of you.
I'm glad too, but I have to go. My friends are waiting for me on the platform. I can't let them wait. It's impolite.
She does not look back. Instead, eyes her fingernails. They're bitten frayed. The evening wind blows in. The gown wraps around her like a white flag. 1,000 times you beat an animal. 1,000 times you've raised that fabric. What is underneath has always calmed you, centered you, made you sane. In your mind, you could still climb inside her bed, still the only man.
The morning? I don't understand. Oh my God, Harry, stop. I don't want to hear anything about the morning. Mourning someone who's still alive. Any of that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn. You don't have to hate the world. Can't you see how kind and beautiful everything is? I don't have time to deal with your pessimism. There are so many people at the stop at this hour. They're all going to the aerodrome. See?
The weight is you and your hate.
Yes, Harry. I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
A tiny golden watch with red straps around her bony little wrists.
It's not, but... I don't know why I said but. There is no but. That's it, yes. We've talked about it a million times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again.
Where in hell? Stop. You're only making it worse for him. You never help with anything.
It just takes some time. For you, I think it will take something like 20 years, maybe? It was hard for me too, you know? I used to think I couldn't live without you. But I can.
She keeps her shoulders squared and her back straight, but it's clear you're still making her sad.
It's okay. Yes. But yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew. What other things? We've been through all the things, Harry. We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
You need to recite it to her, for effect. All of it. No summaries. Yeah, put a stake through your heart. She'll get hurt too. Collateral damage. She won't get hurt. She'll bend out of the way.
Okay, Harry. Okay, it was morning and you slept. The room smelled of cigarettes and Rowans. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left. It was autumn, the first one we had together. But you have to understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100,000,000 years ago. I was someone else then, filled to the brim with love for you, hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I am no longer that person. This has taken her place. It will devour you. Harry, I will eat your mind.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
It's here, Harry. We are on Voyager Road. At the end of it, 300 meters from the stop. There. You could not pay the electrical bill. It became a lightless tomb. The years you spent training for the militia, my parents' money, it was not good.
Surely the alcohol didn't help either.
Everyone has a little glass of wine every now and then. I certainly do. It's a Queen Regnant thing. I don't think it was the alcohol. It was inevitability.
See, if you drank with her, you'd be cool again. If you drank with her, you could have sex on alcohol.
Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, you should let me go to the aerodrome. I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the...
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
No, you don't. You're just being a martyr. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight. Yes, I won't see you, but you will see me. Oh, Harry, this is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful and young, and I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum, like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness, after leaving you the first time, so long ago. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? I did not want to wake you. Perhaps I should have? Was it a job dream?
The lieutenant nods solemnly. I understand. We've all been through similar things. It can be overcome.
Okay.
He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep. Soft covers. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
The heavy metal doors. Green paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer. The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula, are written on the band. An idea lights up in your head.
This is an air-gapped system. Of air, I think they call it. That won't work. No, I'm not. But it would not be very good military technology if programmer ladies could control it remotely. Also, it's ancient, incompatible.
A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all, and walk in with a bottle in your hand. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers, and islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop, sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
Do you have a line of sight to the window?
More than that.
I can see it. Through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
Cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress. He's conflicted for a second. There's guilt there. It takes him a moment to rationalize it away.
Where? I have always assumed it's someone local.
He feels uncomfortable suddenly.
We should move now.
The console is powered off and covered in dust. Nothing happens.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. But we should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
The boat engine.
My kinema. I don't want to do that. Let's just look around.
The consul stands by, mutely. This old cylindrical generator waits. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
dim golden glow and
It's on. Turn emergency open.
automatic boot. The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl.
After you. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here. I don't know.
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless.
I did. And I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a Triangong 446.
A Samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now, like chalk wiped from the board.
No. Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
He does not seemingly react to what you said. Only his right brow moves a little. He does not believe a police officer is genuinely revolutionary.
And this was... when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital, all at once, all the greed and terror in the world, tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it, the shame and smallness of what he became.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction.
Some kind of great terror, worse than you've ever seen.
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. That the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. A coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out, on the radio, they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're our CM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people death? You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis. The black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive? I steal. Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail, gaunt for his age, more like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you, toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlight.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right? Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're a liberast. All the real communists are dead. They died fighting for communism. Are you dead? No. You're an inert lumpen with a gun.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even cancer.
43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods, but he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Two police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. Always. A waste. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try. There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you.
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore though. You're not immortal. Nothing else comes up. You see the lieutenant watch you try to stimulate thought processes by hitting yourself. I'm sorry, this didn't do anything. Usually hurting yourself does.
Officer, a word? I think we may have this. From nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Gefreiter. We just need a confession first and then maybe a solid motive later. Well, I can think of one thing. The gun. We should pick it up and discuss it in front of him, make a show of it. Good. We are doing very good. He wants to confess, I can see that. We just need to pile it on a little more. The more we have on him, the closer he is.
You hear that? He thinks you're this close.
Yes, good going. That should be our first priority. Remember, he wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
There is palpable excitement in his tone. He likes him for this. A lot. But there's something more, too. He thinks the deserter has more than just this case in him. 44 years here.
Oh, yes. And he hasn't spoken to anybody in a long time. If we get him open, who knows what will pour out.
Minions of capital. What do you want?
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burned into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belma grave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a triangle.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this. The rifles on the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burned into. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him later.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Tear into him again. Pile it on him.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it. The coast too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
My ears don't reach the city. With the victim.
Almost. But you need one more. Just one. Or maybe two.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some
Show me the souls, please, Mr.
fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sansarique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them. Right now?
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your musketeer pistols. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? 4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the...
Murder. You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his... nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to... You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it,
Click.
then you pull the trigger.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Them fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood. To punish her.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night.
Past the Fell building on the coast. What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on right there. She needed it just to move. Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut. After she was gone,
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
no. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I'd put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers. It didn't say Clausia in there. It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember her face on the photo. I did. She had a face like an archipelago with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revishal's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
it quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip-point knife.
Good for listening in, too, for hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny. Yes, that, too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf. Airport bag in hand, silks flowing in her wake. See you tomorrow, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air, burning.
You're delusional. There's nothing to see in the soul of the bourgeois woman. It's the same as the surface. Sick hedonism and desperation. No one gives a shit what you think. You and your cronies kill 10 working-class men a day. I've heard the statistics on Channel 8. There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something. No, I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes. The day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore. Maybe, I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days. Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Across the water, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, made of grey cinder block houses with Eternite roofs, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. He's there, doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstein is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place. Where? His voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers. Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square. Just not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruin. In tents, like animals, like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, It's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least we did good when we pushed him under the horse car. Until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
Whores. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation, the smart one. That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on. First against the wall with him.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course, maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago, neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity, too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something. The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
Hey.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
That bourgeois cow, Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
Bordering on sentimentality, it drips out of him, tempered by something familiar to you. A familiar...
She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muscova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not. She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is.
Because she was dead. Because the cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal, grasping her tit, and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job on a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her. And someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is...
Another big spike of rage. Different from the one he has for her.
Nothing changed. Not in the material base. Not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled. Sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything. I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A petank maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the Liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
He whispers with such predatory hunger. It borders on longing.
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think. No, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
No. I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
Glad we talked about what? I ain't going.
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're there. What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on. Perhaps, but his seems more than that. the inner turmoil takes unexpected turns, as if forced on him in a way. In summary, you sense some underlying neurological disorder.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
He is indeed very lucid at times. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled. His lip curls into a sneer at...
Glad we talked about what? What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
You thought you heard something, but it's just the reeds.
Maybe we could all fit in there. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here. But
then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
you come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce.
Lillian, you could ask her maybe.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
This world? What are you talking about? Is this... us?
The wind is cold from the east. Your skin is crawling suddenly. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster. But you don't have a gun.
Tell me what you see, damn it.
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If you can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence. Its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
What is it? What do you want from me?
Something is very wrong with him now. Nothing. Nothing is what he... There is nothing. Only the reeds for him.
Yes? What about me? No.
The lieutenant nods.
Good.
Creatures stand, reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Like laughter, a sort of happiness. Sweat drips from your brow, soaking your chest. You reek of it. You're hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one.
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Then I will tell you what it's like for me. What is your illness? For me, it is not like that. I have states, not emotions. For example, I experience excitement at unexpected sugar rewards. But that is not important. Now I will tell you how it is for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist, shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations, a swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms, all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache. Few of us can begin to imagine the horror of you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. It must be like the highest of hells, a kaleidoscope of fire and writhing glass. Eternal damnation. Even when you're sleeping, and when you wake, you carry it around on your neck, with eyes open that cannot help but swallow more behind the mirror. I feel great, mute empathy for you. That must be incredibly hard. The Arthropods are in silent and meaningless awe of you. Know that we're watching. When you're tired, when the vision spins out of control, the insects will be looking on, rooting for you. And when you fall, we will come to raise you up. Bud from you, banner-like, blossom from you and carry you apart in a sky funeral, in honor of your passing. But not me, because I'm just a leaf eater.
In honor of your shit, Lieutenant Yfreter, which you kept together in the face of total unrelenting terror, day after day, second by second. Detective arriving on the scene.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration. Very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am destroying him. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
Wait, so
Yes, they don't mind. Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulindian Isla. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys.
it may have unknown, dangerous biochemical characteristics that help it maintain its camouflage.
I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain. Also, by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Samanese islanders who came here first, but did not stay, have not seen me. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Rebelshaw, district of Martinez, March 51. Yes, I do not have a starter display, so I use a neurodegenerative element to aid in camouflage. Do not worry, it is only destructive over long periods of time.
The deserter. He's been here for a long time.
No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile senior nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse. Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget? Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
It doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. I think we should take the picture, and then you should back away from the unstudied species.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman, turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class. She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. No, stop. Be afraid. The invertebrate comes back to life, stridulating. Sets of complex eyes follow you, moving in tandem on either side of the insect's small head.
Okay.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning! A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system. There is some kind of countdown happening as it slowly processes the overwhelming brightness of the signal. the invertebrate is regaining control. Here, within the smooth white inner part of its limb, you sense something very intimate. Thoughts. Another shudder passes through the forearm under your palm. Feels like blood pumping through a brain. It's coming too. You withdraw your hand slowly. The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the kiting curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen. It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you, tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off. And as you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only I've never seen anything like that in my life. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
In some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Our suspect is not looking so good.
This passport, issued by the Sovereign Republic of Oranje, is issued to a black-haired woman called Katarzyna Alazie.
Classia's hidden documents from the MT boy.
It's Klasia, with short black hair and glasses. She looks boyish, younger somehow.
Maybe our man, Mr. Dross, took it from Classia's, or whatever her name was, hiding place, or... Like a magpie? What a coincidence. Then it would also have collected the other objects, which would be highly unusual. I can see how the helmet could wash up on the island. And the scope. Maybe Mr. Dross lost it. But to seek this out would be very unusual behavior for now. She said it would be for Anouk Meyer-Smith. Anouk Meyer-Smith.
Katarzyna Alazie was supposed to be her real name, where Klasia comes from. Remember? God damn it. I told you she kept lying to you. She's probably lying to someone else right now, in another city.
No, she lied to us. Her so-called real name was not her real name. Somehow she's managed to lie to us about that too. I don't know, but it's not Katarzyna Alazie or Klasia or Anouk Meyer-Smith. We didn't even scratch the surface with her. Perhaps it's better that we didn't arrest her. Who knows what hell she'd be raising in my district by now.
What is it? What do you see?
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking, like an addict of some terrible substance. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should. Nothing. Just the last embers have gone out. The war is over.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, the ebb would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the Fásmido even. If it did, this is incredible.
No reaction. His breathing is slow, and he appears very old all of a sudden. Around 80.
Did you take this passport and other papers from a boy on the coast?
The spirit.
He hears us. The spirit?
No reply. He's gone again.
Try something else?
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there, with the help of a magpie Fásmido. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being. The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The strength has all gone out of him. Just frail old bones in a sack of tracksuit trousers.
Old age and shock. Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the Fásmido, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that, don't you?
There's much more. Remember what it said when it spoke. Quite a few things about that health check you did on him make sense now.
That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here. Mr. Dross.
No response.
Then how did we see it? Oh, you mean, whatever does this, does it over time? Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief, and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it. Mr. Dross, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse. It does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. Like a drug? His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are. You mean pheromonal? The scope, knowing of her bruises, his disposition toward Miss Oranje? I see what you mean. You should be more careful, detective. Are you sure it wasn't having an effect on you? A valid hunch. Long-term exposure to something like that could be neurodegenerative. Also, please be careful when approaching unknown species in the future, detective. He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him, like he didn't want to leave this place, and the insect maybe. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo. We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here. If we don't...
ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. A mediocre athlete would pant from dragging around his body on a busted crutch. But not you. You're thinking about politics, with blood dripping down your thigh.
There were all sorts of groups and groupuscules back then. It doesn't really matter. No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Freighter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock.
Let's. We are done here.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. Two men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Look what the tide brought him. I want to call you a teapot, but I'm honestly kind of impressed. No idea where you got all that gear, but there's no doubt in my mind that some bad people are looking for it. Also, you look like a fucking idiot.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen. This is the man with sunglasses from the Whirling in Rags. But where are his sunglasses?
That's right. And you're some kind of murder machine. Oh, really? They don't seem bothered by it? That's because you're a cop in an exoskeleton. Actually, are you? Are you still a cop? There's so much disco going on, it's hard to tell.
Vic, calm down.
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean-Vic Amar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. Special Consultant Trent Heilerstam, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi, Precinct 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led. We might need your help with something later.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuragi.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trent, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets.
God damn it, Harry. You told us to fuck off. You said we're cramping your style. Your detective god. Fuck everything. All we burn. Detect or die.
It wasn't like that.
Fuck you, Harry. We didn't know there was gonna be a tribunal, did we? Oh, you think it was cool you saying that? Aesthetic somehow? You were crying when we got here. Breaking things. You said we were going into the abyss. None of us wanted to see the abyss. So we fucked off. Like you told us to. The cafeteria manager you fucked over told us where you went.
And people on the street helped us too, with your whereabouts.
You're a legend among the drunks, Harry. A legendary local drunk. Guilty as charged. I heard you'd lost your mind and your memory. I wanted to see if it was true. And it was. Good work, Harry. You're insane now. There's one less person for me and everyone else to rely on.
He was too sarcastic for you to realize who he was.
I'm clinically depressed, Harry. Sorry if I wasn't in the mood to batter you up after you told us to fuck off. Did you? Or did you literally not recognize my face? We've been partners for how long, Harry? Don't answer that. You don't remember.
He's right. Don't start guessing. Now's not a good time.
Yes, I'm Tran Heilestam. I never said I wasn't Tran Heilestam. Mikhail? Mikhail is my son. No, I was just interested in the Feld building and the Martinez beachhead. And Mikhail wanted to see Martinez. It was a coincidence. What indeed? I was asked to share my take on some of the more obscure theories developed in Königstein in the 30s, like partial psychotraumatic amnesia, group personality theory.
He's here to see if you're insane. He is smart. Let's move on. Yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenant Dubois and Vicomar. Ring any bells? He doesn't remember.
See? He really doesn't remember. It wasn't a sick joke. At least that's good.
Yeah, that's very good. The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Meaning, you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, Isola, pound, and...
As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very...
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
He is. He's getting better. And I can confirm that he drank a lot of alcohol prior to it happening.
I believe he drank. People do that, especially this one. What they don't do is forget their whole life because of drinking.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before. Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders. One was after the two drunks case, the other when we looked into that mural.
The two cases in your ledger, the unsolvable case and the next world mural. Those cases were hard on you.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, here's my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here. Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market. He just needed for it to end.
Okay, Trent, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in a major crimes unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
For now, I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the body? Or do we need to get him on a disability pension? Now nothing. Now we're just going to stand here. No, now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to a motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry? Ah, so refreshing. He just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of everyone's payslip. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
He squints at it, suspiciously.
Okay, and your gun? But you haven't, because you're drunk. You lost your gun, and you're drunk. You're a drunk, gunless bum. I can't smell it. I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then, huh?
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse.
A bit of a week? You're drunk, and you let a suspect escape, a certain Clasier, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the report, Sari. Lieutenant Kitsuragi's. We know.
Duped again. Not for one moment do I believe you quit drinking. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, who also escaped. A ruby something. Or the fact that you very likely sold your gun for booze. That's peanuts. That's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 7 people who were gunned down, the streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired unvetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals.
Here comes the cavalry.
He did so at considerable risk to his own life. He was shot and survived only because of his armor. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been. Detective, it's better if I do that.
It's so much better if he does this. 1,000,000 times.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation. You've spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
On the case?
On Lieutenant Geoffrey Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing. also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the self-flagellation issue. He likes to apologize, profusely, making it sound like he's guilty of at least first-degree murder. It's not a good communication strategy for an officer. It's worrying, especially considering his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a Mazovian socio-economist. He wants to liquidate the ruling class, which, again, for a police officer, is a little odd.
You should yell something. Yes, let's let the big boys talk.
And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective, one of the best I have seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him anything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped working on the case. He is tireless, madly driven. Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which by the way was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out.
Yeah, it was what it was.
Other than that one time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a revolutionary brigade who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
A new species?
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulíndian Fásmid.
He takes out the photo of the Fásmid and shows it to the officers across the yard. The wind blows, flapping the glossy rectangle in his hand. You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
Detective? The old man was not aware of the Fásmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Yes, it really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
Lilianovich, a revolutionary matronym. The custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms, Krasovich, Lasovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms, derived from the mother's name instead. This man's mother was Lilian, his Lilian's son, Lilianovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed, but not before it made it to Revachol.
So, it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called.
Thank you, Trant. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. You said you have a motive?
Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
He wasn't quite sure about the straggler before he heard this detail. It must have convinced him.
Jealousy? I thought this Lilianovich was an old man. To have been hiding for 50 years. Like...
A strange psychosexual fixation, aggravated possibly by proximity to the Fásmid and its chemicals. He himself gave a political reason, said he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
It's way more than that.
I've never doubted you can pull yourself together and work. In bouts. Bouts don't last. I can still smell the booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time.
Yes. Fallen through a gap in a boardwalk. Drunk.
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, Detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
Female? What makes you think so?
You had to see it. It had the subdued colors of a female. And the nesting behavior too, I think.
Incredible. Were there eggs in the nest?
Not as far as I could see. There were other things there, though.
As in cloning itself? What makes you think so? Interesting. Then it is especially vulnerable to disease. A single strain of bacteria could wipe out the entire species. We're probably talking conservation efforts here.
In his mind, he's already planning a nature reserve and knows a good guy for that.
Actually, you know, this would indicate it was a male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They are for attracting mates. Of course, as I said, I'm only guessing. I didn't see it. It must be robust if it can move a whole helmet with its limbs. Yes. That would be a pheromone. A pheromone that's seemingly beneficial to the host. It usually stimulates the affected nervous system. Not a human's, of course, but perhaps a predator's? There are species of bees that, under the influence of pheromones, take wasp larvae to their hives. Ants do the same with aphids, thinking they're... Do you think this is how it stayed hidden?
Nothing is off the table. But I want to stress this. The find does not have to be connected to the case. The case is 100% prosecutable, without any pheromones.
Of course, Lieutenant. Of course. We should treat the case and the Fásmid as completely separate from each other. People are not going...
They're not going to go for this speculation in the constabulary.
Yes, but also reed-colored, beige and brown, a little green on the outside. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs.
Incredible. The PR value of this is exceptional. Cop discovers new species. Maybe even discovers the Insulindian Fásmid. No, that's too much.
This would really help with some of the problems we've been having.
Absolutely, this is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo.
Without it,
You're doing good here. Perhaps only for a moment. Quit while you're ahead? Or no?
This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open, in Martinez, where Everard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere.
And eyes, too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed.
understood, of course.
But a case against Everard would be big.
I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related, for political neutrality.
This has to be good stuff for him to backpedal out of it at first mention.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to. Jude,
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
You haven't been drinking, she thinks. So, maybe this time.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
Now you will finally get to know who you are. The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry. Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but...
Before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Coron. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe...
Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair. Some of your more old-school wording choices. Your posture, even.
Also, this guy. Just everything about this guy.
In your 20s or late 20s, you've really let yourself go since then. Yes, you taught gym in Coron. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher.
The smell of sweat and glue. The worn floorboards.
High school. Harry, your goings-on with Kuno, Andre, Assel, the whole thing on the ice.
His smirk suggests barely contained laughter.
The regular. You found some chick. She inspired you to fight the big fight. Be more than you are. All that.
You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on. The air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope. An ocean full of hope.
I knew it. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher.
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk.
You really went with it too. Really maximized the damage.
Dubois? It was Dora Engelund, I think. You've said her name, but you weren't married. You were engaged. Something like that. Half Vazan. No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. God, I don't know. 6 years ago, she was way before my time.
6 years and you haven't gotten over it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora Engelund really tore you a new one. A big one. Incredibly bangable. She was incredibly fuckable. A beautiful bourgeois woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
Heartbreak, Welkin. Pain, Welkin.
I've only seen a picture, but it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that. Us? We're the bloody murder station, haven't you heard? We're the bad guys. No one likes us.
That's not true. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You're just understaffed. And everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price.
Thank you, Lieutenant. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station and the district is too big, which is why we need to...
Get back to it. We left Torsen and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good.
So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press.
Shooting up churches never is. I was out of town, to be clear.
Our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is shit tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up.
He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast.
Mac the Torso Torsen and Chester McLean. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me. Things are shaky as it is.
God. There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clock punchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake.
There's also a lot of outside help involved, not only me. Other losers too.
He's anything but a loser, although he would like to be seen as one. It's cooler that way.
Ptolemy Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM.
He's one of the most highly regarded men in the force. You're lucky.
Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk. Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May.
Okay, it's not the bloody murder station. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there, hard, every day.
Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Rivershoal. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us.
The press will blow over. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it.
Thank you again, Lieutenant. Who is Lena?
She lives at 1113 Tabernacle Road in Jamrock, remember?
Tabernacle? It's on the way over. Near where you live on Perdition.
Fine, if we're gonna drop you off anyway.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Fásmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change.
She is going to be over the moon. Watch out, or she'll faint.
Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Rivershoal. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate. Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of 2 captains with my doom-mongering. Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
Would fit in. And crazy enough. Can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of that.
He's really considering it.
Good.
Fuck it, let's go. Trump brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
Under the evening sky, the great district turns on its lights. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls inside. Fire traps as far as the eye can see, from Main Street to Precinct 41 atop the motorway, to Boogie Street forking into the dark horizon. You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Dawson? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmere? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Potomley Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the people. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minnow? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?